Yeah, I'm talking to you. What kind of lowlife are you? What kind of asshole are you?
Whoa, okay.
That'll never happen again. When something like that comes up, I don't let the heat of anger burn me up as I did. When you're under the helm of anger, watch out, because it'll take you down. It's like being possessed by a demon. Seinfeld's Michael Richards made this observation in an interview with Time in 2013, and he was speaking from experience. Richards' portrayal of Cosmo Kramer on Seinfeld can be considered iconic for the comic scene. Remember his flashy trademark entrances?
No, I don't want it. I'll take it.
Who doesn't really? Michael Richards' virtual exit from the industry happened with a bang too, but for all the wrong reasons. In 2006, the then 57-year-old actor couldn't rein in his temper and exploded with a racist tirade during his stand-up routine, making references to lynching in the Jim Crow era. Let us remind you how one famous and beloved star ruined his career with a single choice. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for more unforgettable Hollywood stories. Richards rose to fame as Kramer on Seinfeld, but he never forgot about his roots in stand-up comedy. When Seinfeld ended in 1998, he briefly helmed his own sitcom, named fittingly The Michael Richards Show.
Oh, that's quite a story.
The new show was axed and didn't even last one full season. Looking back at that time, Richards recalls that he was not getting much work. In an attempt to reinvent himself, he would appear in comedy clubs unannounced and perform to hone his skills. On that fateful night in November 2006, Richards had a gig at the Laugh Factory Comedy Club in Hollywood, California. A group of about 20 viewers arrived in the middle of his performance. The commotion angered Richards. A member of that group, named Kyle, admits that they were quite loud while ordering their drinks. The comedian on the stage made a remark about the stupid Mexicans and blacks being loud up there. After listening to Richards' comedy bit for a while, Kyle told him he wasn't funny. And then when I told him that, that's when he flipped me off and said, "F you, N-word," and that's how it all started, Kyle says. The comedian's rant lasted for about 3 minutes, with the audience becoming more and more confused. Laughter was quickly replaced by disbelief. 50 years ago, we'd have you upside down with a fucking fork up your ass, Richards said. That's what happens when you interrupt a white man, don't you know? He then addressed another member of Kyle's group and suggested that he be thrown out. Another audience member commented that Richards was not being funny, which was the reason for his failed career. To this, Richards responded with more anger, at which point some audience members chose to leave the club. Not long after, the actor left too. He returned to the club to perform his act once more, but it already was the beginning of the end. Richards attempted to mitigate the damage by apologizing publicly. He appeared via satellite on The Late Show with David Letterman to say he was not a racist. He also explained that with his rant, he intended to defuse the hecklers by being even more outrageous. Well, that backfired spectacularly. Richards reached out to several civil rights leaders and fighters against racial prejudice and apologized, but not all of them were forgiving. Following the pressure, Richards announced his retirement from stand-up a couple of months later. In 2012, Richards spoke to his close friend and co-star Jerry Seinfeld and talked about that touchy subject. "I busted up after that event. It broke me down," the actor confessed. He also admitted that he should have responded differently and worked on his material instead. Michael Richards also spoke to Time about his life since the infamous rant. He decided to stay away from show business for a while. "Yes, we all make mistakes, but let's go further and see more about me," the actor said. He moved away from LA, took up photography, read and wrote a lot. "I got more in tune with my family," Richards said. "I began to take care of my mother, and that was helpful." In that Time interview, the Seinfeld star said he'd forgiven himself for his misstep. The incident was parodied on several TV shows, like Family Guy and South Park.
Every nigga guy has one. You got one, nigga guy.
In 2009, Richards even appeared as himself in an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm and poked fun at what happened that night at the Laugh Factory.
Don't baby me. Don't calm me down. Listen, I'm so pissed off. I could put this hat up your ass.
Let's just relax here, all right?
Michael Richards hasn't made a Hollywood comeback since then. Most notably, he voiced a character in the animated film B-Movie and appeared as Frank in the now-canceled TV show Kirstie. Richards' highly publicized meltdown and his subsequent attempts to apologize are now history, a warning of sorts, and a constant reminder that certain behaviors will not be tolerated. Do you still love Seinfeld dearly, or has Kramer forever ruined it for you?
Are we finished? Done.